Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jade and today I am doing my birthday month book haul for you guys and just all the books I've gotten since I last filmed a video. I know that it's been quite a long time. The reason I stopped filming was because I started college, and so for the first couple weeks I was getting adjusted, so I wasn't filming, and then I ended up moving like an hour away from where I go to school and work, and because of that I honestly was never home, so I never got a chance to film videos. I was always staying at friends and stuff just so I wouldn't have to make the drive because it's very expensive. Really fun. But I just want to get into this book haul because I have so many amazing books that I'm excited to talk to you guys about. The one I'm most excited about, that I can't wait to read, is Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Ngan. This book is so beautiful, and it's the exclusive Barnes & Noble edition, so, you know, I had to get it. I just had to get it because this is the book I'm actually most excited about for new releases this year. I don't know why, it just sounds really good. It's about, so 8 girls get chosen every year to become paper girls for the king, which is the highest honor, but it's also very, very demeaning. And the year this book takes place in, a 9th girl is chosen. I don't know if it's like a mistake or something like that, but she's made of fire, not paper. So I have a feeling that the whole world is going to be turned upside down by this girl, and I'm pretty excited. I'm also excited because this book takes place in just like a different setting than I'm used to reading. It takes place somewhere like with like an Asian setting. I don't really know where because it's a fantasy, so it doesn't have like, it's not like it takes place in Japan or like China or something like that, but it kind of has like that cultural background, and I really, really love reading about books with different cultural backgrounds because they're always so beautiful and interesting to me. You guys know that one of my favorite like areas to read about is like that takes place in the Middle East, that has like dingy and stuff like that. I just really like that, so I'm really excited for this one. The next book I have for you guys is A Poison Dark and Drowning by Jessica Clues. This is the second book to A Shadow Bright and Burning, which is about this prophesized person. It's a prophesized girl who will save everyone because in this world everyone has a command over the element, and she will have all of them. And the world is in danger because there's these 7 ancients. There are these 7 really grisly monsters that, you know, go out and kill people and are trying to destroy humankind. And they're all, like, the prophesized one is supposed to be a wizard and have all these powers. So they found the girl of prophecy, and the book's taking place from her point of view, but she's not the girl of prophecy. She's an imposter. So she's trying to keep her identity a secret once she finds out what it is. But also she wants to save everyone, so she's trying to do what's right, but she also has to be careful because if people found out, she would die. So I'm really excited to see what happens in the second one, especially from the way the first one ended. I think there's a lot of fun stuff that could happen. The next book I have for you guys is Toil and Trouble, 15 Tales of Women in Witchcraft, which is by 15 different authors, and I'm super excited for this book because you know that witchcraft is one of my favorite things to read about. I just think it's really fun and interesting because there's so many different things you can do about it. So reading short stories from 15 authors about witchcraft, I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of really, really cool stuff in here that I'm pretty excited for. The next book I have is Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. It's his newest release, and you know he's my favorite author. I actually got this as a gift from someone who's really important to me, who remembered that it was my favorite author, so it kind of means a lot. But this takes place in, it's a YA novel, which is a little bit different from his novels, and it's kind of like a sci-fi fantasy, I heard, and the whole human race is in danger, and there are these pilots that are fighting to save the human race from probably some sort of airborne enemy. Then I'm guessing there's some sort of invading enemy, and the main character's father used to be a pilot, but he actually abandoned his team and he ended up dying, and she only wants to get into flight school because it's her dream, but they don't want to let her in because of her father being a traitor. But then something happens, they find this mysterious cave or something, and I think she ends up getting to maybe be a pilot because of whatever bad stuff starts happening. But I'm very, very excited for that. Well, I'm not very excited actually because it's not something that would normally interest me, but because it's my favorite author, I would definitely give it a shot, and because it does have fantasy elements, but it just sounds like it was a bunch of pilots and stuff, and I was like, that's boring, but we'll see how it goes. The next books I got are the Scythe series by Holly Black. Holly Black is like known to be the best YA fae world creator, so I've been slowly collecting and reading all of her books. I actually have another one of her books in this haul, The Cruel Prince, which I have right here. But I decided to pick up these series, or this series, to read it just because I really love her world building. I don't really know what it's about. All that it really tells me is that her mom was in a rock band. I think she was attacked, and then there's these two fae clans that are rivals, and she's like torn between them, and they're both trying to use her to win or something like that. That's all I know, so I think it's something you're supposed to go into not knowing a lot. But that being said, the next book I got is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This book was really good. I really love this book. It's one of my favorite that I read this year. It's about two twin sisters that are human, but they're in the fae world because their dad is a fae commander and he's ruthless and a jerk. But they have been raised there, so they go to school with these people, and it's always been a struggle. Like, the main character, she's always put on this really tough face so that she, you know, kind of protect herself against the fae. But her sister, all she ever wanted to do was fit in with the fae and have a life among them. So they take different approaches, and though they love each other, they kind of hate each other for that fact. And then things sort of get twisted upside down when it turns out that one of the fae that always hated her might actually be trying to protect her, and she gets mixed up in like this group and these plots, like political plots as well. She gets really mixed up in because all she ever wanted to do was be a part of the army, so that's what she's trying to do, and she kind of gets an opportunity to do that. There's a lot of stuff that happens in this book actually, but it's good and it's pretty, so I had to buy it. The next book I have is The Queens of Aeneas Lear by Tessa Garton. This is about three sisters who are kind of competing for the throne because their father is dying, and they all are very different. From what I can tell, one is a commander, one is a priestess, and one is like a master manipulator who kind of like remains in the shadows and things like that. And they all like have this little thing they say at the beginning that like kind of describes almost their personality. Like, this is the one that I think is really interesting. It's Ella, the star-blessed priest. My sisters hide in the shadows like serpents, waiting to strike our ailing king. I must protect my father, even if it means marrying a stranger. We will all have to make sacrifices. Love and freedom will be mine. So, like, all of them have something they're also trying to do. So, like, she's gonna get married. The manipulator wants to produce an heir so that she can, I think, get the crown. And the other one is, like, trying to, like, basically kill the king with her powers of her army, I think. I don't know, I've heard that it's good. I haven't heard a lot about it, but it does seem interesting. The next book I got is Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa. This book is about this, like, big dragon that can give, like, grant someone who holds a certain scroll any wish they want. And 1,000 years ago, someone made a wish that made the entire realm, like, war and bloodshed, and everything's been really bad. And the main character of this book, what is her name? Yukimo. She was raised in a monastery, and the monastery actually taught her how to harness and hide her powers because she's half Kitsune. So she has different abilities, which, if you guys know anything about Japanese folklore, Kitsune are really interesting because they're trickster spirits, so they have really cool powers. But the monastery gets ransacked, and she ends up being the only survivor and escaping, and she escapes with the scroll, the prophesized scroll. And then there's another character, Cage, who is a member of the Shadow Clan. He's a samurai, and he's out searching for the scroll. And of course, their two paths cross. So definitely we'll have to see how well that turns out for everyone. The next book I have is actually, where's the other two? Okay, so I actually got the Trials of Apollo series, which I was pretty excited about. I read the first two and I already, but now I have all of them, and I want all of Rick Riordan's books, so it was really great. I started reading the third. I haven't gotten too far. but I really need to pick it up again because I kind of put it down for a little while because I've been listening to audiobooks a lot more than normal books, if I'm going to be honest. I don't know why, it's just how it's been working. But the Trials of Apollo series is about Apollo after the books that take place in the Lost Hero series, after the war and things like that. Apollo got punished by Zeus because of his kind of role in like almost the war the two camps had. And he was turned into a 16-year-old human boy, so he doesn't even have his powers at all. And he also is on a quest to free the 5 oracles that have been captured by the enemy. So, like, the ancient oracles have been captured. That means there's no communication for any demigods, any gods. Like, there's none. You can't use iris messages. You can't even call. Like, there's no way to get in contact. So it's causing a lot of issues. So he's on a quest to deal with that. But there's, you know, some old enemies that have returned from the dead that are wreaking some havoc and that own the oracles. So it's pretty cool. Pretty good. The next book I have is Escaping from Houdini by Carrie Montesacco. This is the 3rd book to the Stalking Jack the Ripper series, which is about a girl named Audrey Rose who is learning how to do autopsies and things from her uncle, except it takes place in, like, oh, what time period is it? Like the 1800s? So it's, like, very unheard of for a girl to be in that kind of role. Is that the 1800s when like Jack the Ripper was a thing? I actually don't know specifically, but it's like a kind of cool time period that's really fun. But so she experienced a lot of things in the first 2 books, and in this book, of course, more things happen. So in this book, they're on a ship to America because they're going to go to America, and the ship has really cool, it has this whole like circus theme. Like each night there's performances, so there's like acrobats and stuff, but there's also a greater mystery happening. And of course the bodies start piling up, and Audrey Rose wants to solve the case and figure out what's happening and stop these murders, but she's also suffering from PTSD from the previous things that she's been through. So things haven't been very easy and aren't going to be easy in this book. But I'm excited. It's going to be nice to see how the series finishes out. I think it's just a trilogy. Like, I don't think there's more coming out. But I'm not sure, I guess. I'm pretty sure it's just a trilogy, but I'm pretty excited. So the next book I have is Red Sister by Mark Lawrence. This book, so I'm very excited for this book as it's talked a lot about on BookTube. It is about this monastery where girls are trained to be assassins. And that's really all I know about it. It involves assassin nuns, and I think that sounds wonderful. And people talk about it a lot, so I think you're kind of supposed to go into it not knowing too much, but it looks like a really good book, and I want to read it soon. The next book I have is A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas. This is the novella that happens after the Court of Thorns and Roses series, which kind of wraps up the first series and then gives you a gateway and ties into the next series that is coming out in that world. I actually, during this long break, read the whole series and this novella, so I'll definitely have to catch you guys up on like a wrap-up of everything that I've read. But this book is amazing. I love it so much. It also made me very mad because it tied up all kinds of loose ends. It let you know how their lives are after everything, and it was wonderful and beautiful. And then there's one character that's suffering from the events of the 3rd novel and is ruining their life, and you want to throw hands with them, and it's just very annoying. But I think that that's what the next series is going to take place. I think it's going to involve that character, so that makes sense, but it's still really upsetting. The next book I have for you guys is Manners and Mutiny by Gail Cartninger. This is the 4th book to the Finishing School series, which is one of my favorite series. I've read all of it, but I've been slowly collecting them. Now I have the 1st one and the 4th one. The series is about a girl who gets sent to a finishing school, but it's also a finishing school that teaches young girls how to be spies. So it's fun. It has the school theme, the spy theme, and it's steampunk, which is actually really interesting. I haven't read a lot of steampunk books, but it's really, really good, and I definitely recommend it because actually that aspect of it I think is also why it's so good. But it's a really funny and intriguing series, and the main character is just really good at what she does. She's just really intelligent, and she's always getting herself in trouble, and she ends up trying to solve this big thing that's happening because she realizes that there's like a giant plot line that's happening and she's involved in it. And I really like the series because throughout the whole series you see the plot line evolving and her evolving with it, and it's just really, really good, and I just really enjoy that series. The next book I have for you guys, which I know I need to read soon, is Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. This book, this author, Uprooted, is my favorite book of the year. I'm going to say now, Uprooted was my favorite book, and I've heard so much about this book, and a lot of people love it. It takes place, from what I've heard, 3 different girls. You don't get that on the inside cover, I don't think, but it takes place from 3 different girls, and it's just another fairy tale retelling of Rumpelstiltskin. So what it says in the inside cover is one girl learns how to turn silver into gold, which helps her father's crippling debt. But then I think the king hears about it, and like a mystical being hears about it, and there's just kind of like something going on, and like threat of war and stuff. I don't know, but I've heard that it's really good, so I definitely need to read it sometime soon. The next book I have, which I'm also very excited about, is The Sawkill Girls by Claire Legrand. I don't know why I'm so excited. For some reason, this book just really, really intrigues me. It's about this island, and teenagers always go partying on the island and stuff like that. But girls have been disappearing on this island for decades. And, you know, the teens tell stories of, like, a monster on this island and explaining, like, the disappearances. But 3 girls, unlikely girls to like become friends. I don't even know if they become friends, but they band together to solve this mystery of the missing girls. One's the queen bee, one's a quiet type, and the other is like grieving. I don't know. They all have their own issues, but they all want to figure out what is happening. And it gives me actually really strong Silence of the Lamb vibes, which I think might actually be on purpose. I'm not sure, but it just really does. If anyone else sees that, let me know. That might be why I'm intrigued. I've actually never seen that movie or read the book, so I don't know why it intrigues me, but I know that I need to. The next book I have is A Map of Days by Ransom Riggs, a signed copy. I only own 2 signed books, so it's kind of a big deal. This is the 4th book to the Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. The first 3 kind of finished up and wrapped up the story, but this one's going to be taking place in America when all the characters of the first kind of trilogy decide to visit America, which will be very interesting because the Peculiars in America have not been set up for as long as the European ones by any means, and I think they're like disorganized and stuff like that. So it might be interesting to see kind of what it's like over there for Peculiars and what kind of powers they have, because I have a feeling we're going to have a lot of new interesting characters. But I'm super excited, and I need to read that soon. I just gotta like be in the right mood. I actually kind of want to reread the whole series, so I might think about that, or just reread the first one. I don't know. See what happens. I'm almost done, you guys. I'm almost there. The next book I have is A Court of Fives by Kate Elliott. This book is about a girl who participates in this really big competition called the Court of Fives. It's like really important. She's been training her whole life. It's like this huge athletic competition, but she ends up having to do it to save her family because her like she's trying to save her family for some reason, and there's vengeance and a lot of political stuff in it. I don't know a lot about it, but I thought I'd pick it up, so I did. The next book I have, we know this one's going to be heart-wrenching. That's all I have to say. We have Muse of Nightmares by Laini Taylor. It's the 2nd book to The Strange the Dreamer, whatever. I don't know if it's a series or whatever it is, but the way the first one ended, this is going to be upsetting. Well, but I'm just going to let you know. The first one is from 2 characters' perspectives. It's about Laszlo Strange, who is a scholar. He's focused his whole life on learning about the city of Weep, which is a city that 200 years ago just disappeared. And it was like a really beautiful, almost mythical city. But like the caravan stopped coming, and there was no communication, and anyone that tried to visit it would disappear and never come back. So he spent his whole life trying to find anything he can about them because everything's been destroyed and there really wasn't a lot of information on it. And then one day a caravan from the city of Weep arrives looking for scholars and mathematicians and engineers and anyone who's like brilliant in certain fields to help them with a problem that they have. And Laszlo ends up getting to go on this caravan because of his knowledge about them as a people and his ability to tell stories. So he goes with them to see the city of his dreams. I should mention the reason it's called the City of Weep is because whatever happened 200 years ago, the name can no longer be spoken. And whenever it's been forgotten, but whenever people come close to trying to remember it, they just feel extreme grief because of events that happened. And it does have another character's perspective in it, and all I'm going to say about them is that it's a girl with blue skin and she's not supposed to still be alive. So, it's a good book. The second one, I don't even want to read it. I'm going to be so sad. This last book I have is The Tiger's Daughter by Kay Rivera. So, this book, I don't know a lot about it, but I have heard some really great things about it. It's two women warriors who like prophesized to help with whatever struggle the land is going through, and they're going to help with whatever is happening. Like demons. There's demons. This is the book with demons. Okay. So, I have one more book. That makes sense. Alright. Sorry. So, they're trying to fight against this evil, but what I've heard a lot about on BookTube is that the two are like together and they're in love, so it's really good LGBTQ plus representation, and it just always sounded really interesting, and the aspect of them just naturally being together but also being warriors seems really cool to me, so I've been wanting to pick up that one for a while and I finally found it. The last book, the official last book, is Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. This is another assassin school book. The main character is sent to the school for like the best school for assassins, and they have the ability to speak with shadows, which is obviously a rare ability, and then they get tied up into some sort of thing. I don't really know. I don't know exactly what it's about, but there's deadly trials that she has to go through in the school, and something about a deadly killer. I don't know. It sounds really good, and I definitely will have to read it. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give me a like down below. Tell me which one of these books sound interesting to you, or any books that you've gotten recently that you're excited about, or that you're planning on reading, and I'll see you all in my next one. Bye-bye!